I never thought moving into Edenwood would feel like stepping into a battlefield. The neighborhood looked perfect from the outside. Manicured lawns, winding sidewalks, houses gleaming in the morning sun. The kind of place where everyone smiled at each other at first glance. But first impressions are lies. I'm Alex Parker. New homeowner, mid-30s, just trying to live quietly after years in the city. The first week was bliss. Boxes unpacked, my garden planted, a mailbox that matched the HOA rules to the dot. I waved at neighbors, exchanged pleasantries, nothing to worry about. Nothing, that is, until I met her, Karen Whitmore, HOA president. From the moment she appeared at my door, clipboard in hand, her glare could have frozen fire. "Welcome to Edenwood," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Just remember, rules are rules." Her husband, Officer Tom Whitmore, stood in the background, arms crossed. Uniformed, even though this was private property. Protective, controlling, a living extension of her authority. They didn't like newcomers who didn't bow to their invisible throne. The first incident came 2 days later. I trimmed my bush, not excessively, not outside property lines. But apparently the corner near the sidewalk violated aesthetic guidelines. I received a crisp, official-looking letter. $200 fine if not corrected within 24 hours. I shrugged, trimmed the bush again, sent a polite email, thought that would be the end. I was wrong. Part 2. First confrontation. It was a Saturday morning when I decided to enjoy a coffee on my porch. The sun was shining, birds singing. Perfect. Except for the sound of boots on the gravel driveway. Karen appeared, notebook in hand, pacing the street like a general inspecting her troops. "Your mailbox paint is off by 0.2 millimeters, she announced, pointing at the corner of the box like it was a crime scene. "You'll need to repaint immediately." I blinked. "It's the right color according to the HOA-approved palette." She leaned closer. Her voice dropped. "I've already called my husband. He'll be keeping an eye on this." And just like that, my peaceful weekend evaporated. Every step I took felt monitored. Every gesture noted. The neighborly facade of Edenwood was a lie. This was a controlled war zone. Part 3. Escalation. Weeks passed, and the harassment escalated. I received notices for things I hadn't done. My grass too long. My driveway too clean. My dog barking twice instead of once. The fines mounted. Thousands of dollars. Other neighbors whispered warnings. Don't challenge them. They're relentless. But then I discovered something interesting. Karen's family, lavish lifestyle, new cars, expensive vacations, all funded by HOA fees that were supposed to cover maintenance, not her personal life. My curiosity turned into research, and research into obsession. I dug through HOA records, public documents, and quickly found a series of shell companies linked directly to Karen and Tom. Money was being siphoned, diverted, laundered, all under the guise of HOA fees. Every complaint, every fine, every intimidation tactic had a pattern. They weren't enforcing rules, they were enriching themselves. Part 4. The allies. Not everyone in Edenwood agreed with Karen's methods. I began quietly connecting with neighbors who had been silently oppressed. Mrs. Thompson, an elderly widow, had faced fines for planting flowers outside permitted zones. The Johnsons had received threats over a carport extension. We started meeting at night, sharing stories, reviewing documents. It became clear. Alone, I was vulnerable. Together, we were a force. We planned carefully, evidence documented. Photos, recordings, receipts, permits, all meticulously organized. Our goal was simple: hold the HOA accountable without falling victim to their intimidation. Part 5. Small victories. I began pushing back subtly. Each letter I sent, each fine contested, made them uneasy. Karen tried calling meetings to isolate me, scare others into compliance. But I was ready. My neighbors quietly recorded board meetings, collected signatures, captured evidence of illegal activities. The tipping point came when Karen tried to force eviction of the Johnsons over a trivial landscaping issue. They refused. And I was ready with the documentation. Proof of misappropriated funds, fines without basis, rule violations committed by the HOA itself. Part 6. The showdown. It was during the annual HOA meeting that everything came to a head. The community center was packed. Karen strutted in, confident as ever, clipboard in hand, expecting to crush dissent with her usual charm. I stood up, calm, collected, and presented evidence. Hundreds of pages showing misused funds, intimidation tactics, violations of municipal codes. I named names. The crowd gasped. Officer Tom tried to intervene, but the documents were irrefutable. I had involved the county authorities weeks earlier. Inspectors, auditors, and legal officials were already waiting outside. Within the hour, Karen and Tom were confronted by legal authorities. Their power crumbled. Every neighbor who had been silenced finally had a voice. Part 7. Resolution. The aftermath was surreal. Edenwood felt alive again. Fines were overturned. HOA fees returned to proper use. Karen resigned in disgrace. Tom faced investigations. Neighbors celebrated quietly, planting flowers, repainting mailboxes, and reclaiming the streets that had been under control. I stayed, but life returned to normal, peaceful, cooperative, and democratic. From that point on, every new resident learned one lesson: rules are for everyone, not for someone's ego. And sometimes, it takes one person willing to fight back to restore balance.